What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Kevin Svenson, and today we're going to be discussing the Bitcoin and crypto markets. It is March 12th, Wednesday, middle of the week. And as you can see, I'm looking at the Kraken Markets page. If you haven't been to the Kraken Markets tab, definitely check it out. There are a lot of really awesome updates, including these clusters right here. You can see categories of coins, how they're all trading against one another. And you can see the category or sectors heat map right here to see which sector of the market is doing the best. Some of our top gainers right now, meme coins and also layer 2s up 5.8% as a whole. Let's click on layer 2s. We can see individually. The markets tab gives you a good idea of what may be underperforming or outperforming the rest of the market. Click that link below and sign up for Kraken if you haven't already. And today's March 12th, which means it marks the 5-year anniversary of the COVID crash. We had a 40% drop 5 years ago on this day, one day down 40%, and from the high, depending on what exchange you're looking at, 60, 70%. One of the most wild moments in the market, but this ended up being a generational dip buy opportunity. Just a good reminder that even when things look like they're at their worst, sometimes what comes next is glorious. Now let's take a look at Bitcoin. So on the weekly chart right now, we're looking at a green weekly. We had a dip to a slightly lower low. If we take our curve line tool and go from the lows to where we are right now for Bitcoin, we can see that we are starting to, well, we did test below the parabolic trend line. We are currently just above it, but it's getting a pretty close call here. Bitcoin can't spend too much time going sideways, and it also can't spend really any time on the weekly going down without breaking the parabolic trend. So this is pretty much the last leg. It's either going to hold here and start to trend upward, or it's going to end up turning into something else, maybe a sideways lull. The other option is that we just break down and go into, maybe the high 60s. Right now, there are signs pointing to the idea that we may enter a stage where the market is in a lull, where we actually kind of just chop sideways for a while, exit this parabolic trend, and go into a more of an accumulation zone. So the reason why I just said we may be entering a lull stage or an accumulation stage is because I'm seeing something here that looks like a continuation pattern of our long-term trend. We're looking at Bitcoin on log scale right now. And you can see that Bitcoin, whenever it had a big move up, it would pull back, break below the bull market support band, and create this sideways lull, this accumulation range, where we test the 44 to 45 level on the weekly RSI. The MACD crosses down on that move and then crosses up when we reclaim the bull market support band. The bull market support band is the 20 SMA and the 20 EMA. And you can see over here, we break down below the 20 EMA and 20 SMA. The weekly RSI retests 44 to 45, and the MACD crosses down and then back up when we recross the bull market support band. And you can see right now, we've broken below the 20 EMA and the 20 SMA. Weekly RSI has now touched 44 to 45, and the MACD has crossed down. And every time we've retested the parabolic trend line, this is also where we've been sitting on these indicators. And so we may be in a period of a sideways range. And if you look at the timing of these past two zones, how long did it take to play out that sideways accumulation range before breaking out again? Well, 2023, it was about 10 weeks. In 2024, it took about 12 weeks or so to play out that accumulation range. And if we take this area here where we are and we mark it up from the breakdown, well, about 10 to 12 weeks, that would be about May. And yes, that would mean that Bitcoin has broken the parabolic trend. Does that mean the cycle's over? Does that mean we're done? Not necessarily. The market can do whatever it wants, but it would suggest that we have major slowdown in momentum, right? When you are maintaining a parabolic trend and you actually maintain the trajectory, the momentum is very, very strong into the high. If at some point you're in a parabolic trend and you break it, well, then you're going to slow down in momentum, get a lot of sideways action before maybe building up and out at a later date. I don't expect most people to follow what I'm about to say or agree with it. If you remember, if you're a loyal viewer of this channel, if you remember in 2024, when we had this trend, and at the time, the parabola was positioned actually like this, a very steep parabolic trend. And we broke it. We broke down out of this trend and we created a sideways lull. And then And now it's very likely that we're going to play out a similar style move outside of the parabola. And of course, I already know what people are going to say in the comments, but this is exactly what happened in 2017. Same exact thing. You have these medium-term trends that take place and you break down. You go into down, a lull, accumulation, and then you create a larger trend. You break down and you create a larger trend. You don't know that this low is going to be here, so you can't plot the trend here until you have that low created. And then it goes up, breaks down again. You don't know that this low is going to be here, so you can't plot the trend until it happens, and it expands. And so going back to the current market cycle, Bitcoin has had this same style thing. Break down, create another wave. Now break down, likely sideways, whatever, accumulate, create another wave. It just means you're going to slow down, maybe even slightly lower lows at some point, kind of like how in August we just had a little dip below the low, wasn't really much. So Bitcoin could bounce up, slow down in momentum, create a bottom, and then another wave later on, just like how we always see it in past cycles. And that's kind of what this is pointing to, is that if we play out this setup as we have in all these other ranges, Bitcoin is probably going to end up chopping into about May and then looking to run up after that. So we maybe have a little bit of sideways, a little bit of down, but ultimately, as we've seen in the past, this is an accumulation range, right? So this is not an area to panic and sell. It's an area to be accumulating what you need before the next major turn up in the market. And Bitcoin is down about 30% from the high. In 2024, we went down 33%. In 2023, we went down 22%. And this is really no different than other cycles. If you look at Bitcoin after we broke the all-time high in 2021, that major pullback right there, same thing, 31% down. Bitcoin currently down 30%. This is a standard correction in the Bitcoin market. And after we play out this sideways action, this accumulation range, and if everything is stable and the stock market recovers, well, then Bitcoin may be able to play out continuation to the upside. And we'll see how the price interacts with the parabolic trend. Right now, we're pretty much on it. Close call. Maybe we hold it, maybe we don't. Maybe we go sideways for longer, or maybe we follow the trajectory and go up very much sooner. But if you're looking at the weekly RSI, one thing is interesting here. We do have a decreasing RSI trend. And in 2021, the RSI peak took place at 42,000. 42, the RSI peaked. And then we went up, got bearish divergence. Market comes down and goes and hits a higher high, a new all-time high. More bearish divergence. So the peak of the RSI is not necessarily the peak of the market. And what we're looking at here for Bitcoin is that if this is going to be another stage where either we bounce soon or we accumulate for longer and then run up, well, we'd be looking at the weekly RSI as our target. If Bitcoin plays out a bullish scenario, whether we go up sooner or accumulate for longer, we run up to a new high, a new all-time high, it's likely that the weekly RSI would actually be at a lower high, basically testing the overbought zone before pulling back. And it's possible that that would be the cycle high. So I do see that Bitcoin could test the overbought levels on the weekly, which means there's quite a lot of upside to play out before the market gets totally overheated. And that lower high in the RSI could be further bearish divergence at a new all-time high, right? Whether it's much higher high, slightly higher high. So that's the perspective that I have on the market currently. But that is it for me today, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. Smash the like and subscribe, and be sure to sign up for Kraken Pro using that link below, and I'll see you all in the next video.